Alhamdulillah, from Allah.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah, Hajja, barakallah fi khalti.
As a Muslim girl, I am a lot of
Alhamdulillah, khalti, barakallah fi. Jazakallah khair, khalti, barakallah fi.
That's nice.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah accept it. Yes, may Allah give us sincerity and may Allah forgive us, Baba. You know, sometimes people judge you, but they don't know what you do. So we say, Alhamdulillah, Allah hide our sins. May Allah forgive us. You know, and make it clear, I'm not the best person to follow. I have my shortcomings. Because you know, people sometimes they raise someone too high. You understand? I'm a human being. The person that we follow is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions and Al Bayt. Yes, okay. So that's
Do you
one.
believe in evolution?
Evolution, nah, it doesn't make any sense. Evolution is not scientifically proven.
You don't think it's scientific?
No, it's not, Baba. It's not. You know, there was the commentary was done by a Jewish journalist. He's famous in America. You should watch it. He called Expelled Ones. The Expelled Ones. Yeah, the Expelled Ones. Yeah. So he goes to universities, top universities in America, and there were scientists in that country. Some of them Christian, without religion. They were banned because they start doubting Darwin evolution. You should watch it. Yeah, it's nearly 2 hours. I watched it. It's unbelievable. Yes.
Stopping freedom of speech. Though.
That's his point. His point. No, hang on. This country, America. Remember, by the way, there's no freedom of speech. Every country they will restrict freedom of speech. You understand?
Yeah.
You understand? This is one of the emotional. I will call it this emotional tickling to the people about freedom of speech. There's no freedom of speech. You see, every country will restrict it to freedom of speech.
Slyly.
That's in Algeria. There's certain things you can say you cannot say in Britain. You'll be banned. You'll be put in prison. There are certain things you can say in Britain you cannot say in Algeria. You see, so this حرية التعبير, there's no حرية التعبير. Every country has restriction. It's like, you know, there is a Canadian woman, side point. There is recently a brother, a young boy, didn't go to school because it was the day for celebrating LGBTQ. And the teacher, she rebuked him. She said, what about freedom of speech? So I was thinking, but hang on, what about his freedom of speech? He doesn't want to come. What are you forcing him? You see, so this freedom of speech, they use it when they like. You see, that's why there's no freedom of speech. It's one of the big lies. We should say we have restricted freedom of expression.
It's an illusion, isn't it?
It's illusion. Barakallah, may Allah bless you, my brother. It's illusion. It's illusion. And it's the way of shaitan. Shaitan, Baba, when he wanted to misguide Adam, what did he say to Adam? He said to him, shall I not show you a tree of eternity? That tree, it was a tree of a forbidden tree. But Iblis, he knows that if I say to Adam, is a tree forbidden, Adam will stay away from it. So what Iblis did, he changed the name for it. And that's what's happening now. They changed the names of certain things. Like alcohol, they say spiritual drink.
Really?
Yeah, they call it sharab al-ruhani. Yes, they call it spiritual drink. Yeah, they call it spiritual drink. You see, so my point here is, my Baba, this came from Iblis. Yeah, so the point here is that about freedom of speech anyway. But do you have other question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If someone asks you why Islam is the truth,
What is what?
why Islam is the truth? Why?
Well, I'm still questioning it. But the reason why I believe I'm more likely to believe in Islam rather than other
Sure, yeah.
because of the belief of one God rather than.
MashaAllah, that's a good point. That's a good one.
And I think
The oneness of Allah.
I think the way of living, like when I see Muslims that practice, they're so happy and content with their life.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate happiness. It's not about drinking or doing drugs. I think practicing Muslims or practicing religion makes you happy inside. Innit?
But the true happiness, they say, the Muslim community, they have very low suicide than any other religion.
They do, yeah.
But it's not just about
They're
that.
scared of the consequences of the afterlife.
No, but Christianity have it as well. Christianity, you're not allowed to kill yourself. Judaism as well. You understand? But it's not about just that. Why Islam is the truth? Because when you look how Allah created mankind, when Allah created us, He created us with the tools. Sound reasoning and natural inclination. Yes? And when you analyze any religion, the only religion or way of life that go in line with our sound reasoning and our tools is Islam. Like the oneness of Allah is so clear in Islam. You see, when it comes to Christianity, it's confusing. Hinduism, Buddhism likewise, Judaism likewise. You understand? Likewise as well, Islam, it has tangible proofs that we can share. Like when it comes to the Quran, I was speaking to the Christian Arab. You were here when I was speaking to the Christian Arab?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. I was asking him, who's a Christian Arab, I said, I'm going to challenge you. Can you tell me where anyone in the history, throughout the history, someone speaks like this, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, or Noon wal Qalami wa ma yasturun, or Alhamdulillah alladhi anzal. Himself is so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
The question you ask yourself, how in the history, and Allah challenged you to make something like it, yeah? Why this man came with this speech is so beautiful and is challenging people to come with it, because that speech is not from him. And you know what scholars mentioned, one of the powerful arguments or refutation against those who try to say that the Quran was made by Prophet Muhammad, one of the strongest arguments, that if you look at the Prophet Muhammad's speech in the Sunnah, it's completely different than the Quranic style.
Is it?
Of course. Prophet Muhammad will speak, Noon wal Qalami wa ma yasturun. When Prophet Muhammad speak in his Sunan, yes, you can see it's completely different. Because the eloquency of that speech is from Allah. Of course, Prophet Muhammad is eloquent, but the eloquency of Allah is completely different. It's a miracle. That's why, you know, even the Arab Christians now who try to accept the challenge, wallahi, the children that go to school, secondary or primary school, they will laugh at them for the mistakes they make in grammar. Just in grammar. And you know something what they do? They take some verse from the Quran and mix it. That's stealing, you understand? That's so also one of the prophecies in the Quran that Allah mentioned, that Allah will make Islam spread. Yes, and there's something Allah mentioned. But look what Allah said, وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. Even if the disbelievers dislike it, even if they try their best to stop it, they cannot stop it. From the world point of view, or material point of view, the Islamic enemies, they have more material than us. They're more powerful in terms of resources, yes, social media than us. So they have more power to stop Islam spreading. But Islam is spreading around the world. Allah mentioned in the Quran, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, he said, this religion will enter people's houses. Okay, and you know what, I was watching the commentary, this lady from a countryside in Leeds. So she went to university in Leeds, then she spoke to her family and she became Muslim. Yeah, and her family thinking, when she came to see them, she was wearing hijab, the whole village, no one is Muslim. Just her. And it's everywhere, even though there is a huge war against Islam. Brother, you know, if this war, the war that has been waged against Islam, if it was waged against any religion, it would be dead. Any religion.
It brings morality. From the history, if there was no religion, people would be savages, I believe, because
no, sorry, brother, if you miss, why there's no huge war against Christianity on social media? A huge war. We're talking war, no actual war. Yeah. I'm talking about like a intellectual war or no, not like Islam. Okay, in Australia, every day there's many articles speaking bad about Islam. In Germany, likewise. In France, likewise. In Britain, likewise.
I agree.
No Christianity, no Judaism, it's Islam.
My family is Muslim, so I know that Muslims, when they stereotype Muslims and say all this extreme stuff, it's all bullshit. I'm sorry. It's all lies, yeah? But I think it's annoying when I try to ask a question and the response I get is, don't ask too many questions. It's not good to ask too many questions.
So again?
I'm saying when people respond to my questions with, don't ask too many questions, it's not good to ask too many.
No, you're good. It's like ask questions.
It's like,
that's how you learn.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying
to learn.
Trying to learn.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Yeah, ask.
As a kid, I went to mosque.
Yeah.
I learned the Quran. I know how to. I forgot it now.
Yeah, of course.
But I've been through that.
Yeah, that process.
And if I've got questions in my mind, and I'm watching your videos, for example, trying to get back to the routine.
Allah bless you, man.
Then it's like, and people are looking at me like you're confused.
No, brother, no. Ask
questions.
No.
It's like countering.
No, brother, you're a good person, inshallah. You know why? Because you're fighting against shaitan. Some people know what they do. They don't want to ask no questions. They end up what? Becoming disbelievers.
And you know what? One of my friends, I said to him, why I said to him, why are you Muslim? He said to me, because my mum's Muslim. I said, do you not think, is that your only reason? He said, yeah, I don't know. And that I think is wrong. You know, people that blindly follow it, I think that's wrong as well. Because there's something better to understand it and follow it. It's more rewarding. Like, you know the Quran, you know the
Islam said that. Islam said, fa'alam, acknowledge, have knowledge. Islam is based upon knowledge, you know. Islam warns against just following our forefathers, you understand? Because now, if a Muslim says, I'm a Muslim because my mother's Muslim, the Christian said because his mother, so how do we know the truth? No, Allah never said be Muslim because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah mentioned the intellectual proofs, the tangible proofs, the observable proofs, and what Islam is the truth, it's so powerful, brother. Like, you know, the prophecies that I'm talking about. Like, I'm telling you, like, for example, now there's a huge war as well. There's a war against human nature. Now, with all of this nonsense, there's a huge war against human nature. And the only religion that is standing firm against it and not backing down is Islam. That's why there is a Christian Orientalist he said the reason there is a huge war against Islam, he was Palestinian Christian, and he's in America, he died, I believe. His name is Saeed something. He said because the only religion that is not backing down for this immorality that is being pushed around the world is Islam. You understand? That's why the Muslim will not. You say a Muslim, you see Muslims smoke drugs, drink alcohol, but he will not back down for Islam. Alhamdulillah. You understand? Yeah, will not, because what Islam is within us. Alhamdulillah. You understand? Also, there is another prophecy Prophet Muhammad mentioned. Prophet Muhammad said there will come a time when a woman will not be sufficed with a man. When a woman will not be sufficed with a man, she will go with another woman. And there will come a time when a man will not be sufficed with a woman, he goes to another man. That's what's happening now. In the Quran, Allah mentioned that Satan will inspire people to change Allah's creation. One of the scholars, Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Nasir Sa'di, he died, rahmahullah. He said one of the ways to change Allah's creation, even like what's happening with this transgender and all of that. How Prophet Muhammad knew that? That was not known at that time. Yes.
I thought about that a lot as well, because I think in the Quran it says there's going to be a time where men are going to try to be like women and women are...
Yeah, there's a hadith. There's a hadith.
I don't know if it's the Quran or hadith.
No, the hadith, Prophet said that, yeah. The Prophet said that.
It's happening now.
No doubt, brother, no doubt. You know, that's why, you know, when you look at Islam, when you analyze Islamic legislation, whatever Allah told us to stay away from, because it's bad for us. Or there is more harm than good. And whatever Allah told us to do, because it's good for us. And there are some people out there who are benefiting from these evil vices, like alcohol, gambling, interest, and they look at Islam as a threat for their business. That's why they wage a war against Islam. You know, Islam teaches, do you know what is the meaning of freedom? When you are a slave of Allah. As Ibn Qayyim said, "Sadfarru min khulula biraq an-nafs wash-shaytani." They flee from the servitude which they have been created to worship Allah. They become slaves of their desires and the shaitan.
But I still disagree with, you know, in some African countries where the LGBTQ community is just killed. I think killing is ultimately wrong.
No.
Whether the person's decisions is right or wrong in the afterlife or whatever, I think killing them on the spot and trialing them, killing them because...
No, Islamically, Islamically, you don't kill someone because he said he's gay.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
if you see the action, yes, Islam there's a capital punishment. For a man, it's not just because of gay. In Islam, if a man and another man have intercourse and there's 4 witnesses, then Islamically there's a death penalty. Yeah. Likewise, for a man who is married and a woman who is married, if they commit fornication or adultery, there's a death penalty for them. Why? Because...
Isn't there going to be God's punishment afterwards? Like, who are you to...
No. That's the point. That's the If they get the punishment here, that's expiation for their sins. So they'll not be punished in the year after.
Because they got murdered?
They're not just murdered. For example, they got the punishment. For example, now if I drink alcohol, yes, the punishment is lashes, yeah? So if I get the lashes and I make tawbah from it...
That's cruel though.
Huh?
That's cruel.
But this is the sins. You see, that's the point here.
It's cruel.
Yes, again?
It's cruel.
Well, okay, who should determine what is right, what is wrong? That's
I think it should be humans against other humans.
No, what I'm saying, who should determine what is right, what is wrong? Logically speaking, who should?
The court.
Okay, the court, so the God. The court is said. Even the court doesn't mean always they're right. They say something right.
That's why they have 12.
No, but universally. Who should determine? The Creator, God. It's a logical argument. If I create everything, so who has a perfect knowledge what is good for us in details and what is bad for us in details? Who has it?
If you're religious, yeah, you're God.
No, forget religious. If you accept there's a Creator, you know there's God. You understand? So logic dictates. He knows what is good for us in details and what is bad for us in details. You see what's happening now? You're looking at this punishment, but you don't understand what is the outcome of their sins. The outcome of the sins was destruction in society. You understand? So sometimes there is a harm, no doubt is a harm, but this harm is removing greater harm. And this is deterrence. Yes? Because to be honest, Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned throughout the history, you can count how many times the capital punishment against adulterer was established. Because the condition is very hard. You understand? So someone who is caught, he has to do openly. You understand? And you understand my point? So that's my point, Baba. Earlier on, what I said to you. Can you remember what I said to you earlier on?
You can't understand some things.
No, before that. I don't mind you. I said to you, sometimes you have a doubt because we've been influenced by liberalism or secularism or atheism, and then we look at Islamic legislation and we say it's opposing it. So you as a person brought up in this country, no doubt you're going to think it is very harsh. And it is harsh. Baba, it's a punishment. Have you heard punishment soft? That's why it's called punishment.
Okay,
you understand? You understand my point?
You know hell?
Yeah.
Eternal hell.
Yes.
That's the most cruelest punishment. Dying, dying.
That's why, alhamdulillah. So
infinitely.
You know. So it's clear. So you are stressing my point now. So those gays or those adulterers, they got punishment, capital punishment. They think alhamdulillah from God. It's better than being a hellfire.
If my wife,
good.
I don't have a wife. If my wife,
okay,
cheated on me, adultery on me, I'd be so pissed off. I'd be so devastated, unbelievable. I would hate.
Don't swear, brother.
Sorry, I would hate that so much.
Yeah.
But if you said to me, would you want her to burn, resurrect, burn, resurrect, burn, resurrect, unlimited amount of time?
That's not about adultery. It's for disbelievers. This for disbelievers.
It's a bit too cruel.
No, but I can't, brother. You know, you're okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, my point here is, again, this is emotional argument. It's not rational. You know why?
Emotional person.
Yeah, of course. Is an argument always valid or can be wrong?
Obviously wrong.
That's it. Okay. So that's my point. My point, you see what you're doing? Again, I remind you, brother Burak, yeah? You know it's Burak, yeah?
Yeah,
My country, Burak, you know it's Burak?
What is it?
Burak is like some water.
Same in Turkey, Burak is
That's it, man. Should I say Burak or not? You're going to make me happy. So anyway, brother, what I would say to you, again, this is an emotional argument. And guess who? And guess the all no one is perfect. Now, women that commit adultery, and as a Muslim, she's not going to be in hellfire forever, by the way. And Allah can forgive her as well. So,
there be some people that's eternal hellfire.
Disbelievers. Do you know why? They choose to be inside the hellfire forever. So you should not blame Allah, you should blame them.
I have atheist friends, as you can tell.
That's not, but give them da'wah, inshallah.
But they are good people.
You sure?
Do they deserve burning, resurrection?
Are you sure they're good?
Of course they're good.
So why they're not good to one who gave them life and everything?
Does that define being good?
Okay, if this example, I think you heard it before. If I'm very bad to my parents, I reject my parents, who took care of me all my life, clothed me, fed me, gave me water when I was thirsty. When I was in need of help, they helped me. When I grew up, I became healthy, wealthy. I turn away from them, I reject them, and I take care of my neighbors. I say, my neighbors, go away, man, my father, my brother, go away. I take care of my neighbors. Am I a good person? I don't think you should think about that, bro.
No. What are the factors? Is the parents?
They took care of me all my life. They treat me well. They gave me everything. I turn away from them. But I'm good to my neighbors, though.
You deserve infinite hellfire for that.
No, before you go about infinite hellfire, because the action of disbelief is so disgusting and so evil, should be in the hellfire forever, because they have arrogance. Because this person is arrogant, yeah, forever. That's arrogance. So the question ask yourself, tell your friend atheist, you know in the Quran, Allah give you logical proofs, tangible proofs, why you should worship Him alone. Why are you rejecting it? Ask him. If he's gonna tell you, I can't be bothered, he's arrogant. So you should not be blaming Allah. That's the question you should ask, brother. No, I'm not saying you blame Allah, but generally speaking, we should not say to Allah, oh Allah, when you're putting this person in the hellfire, no, we said, oh this person, why you in the hellfire forever? When you have paradise, like Allah gave me, now I can choose to be kafir or Muslim, but I don't want to be in the hellfire forever. I want to be in paradise.
People don't have opportunity to become Muslim.
If they don't have the Allah,
Orthodox Jewish, I live in Stamford Hill, they can't talk to anybody else. They're grown from...
Don't worry, brother, Allah is more just than you. In the Quran, Allah mentioned that. Allah will never punish people who Islam never came to them. So on the day of judgment, Allah will test them. No, Allah will not punish them and Allah will test them, alhamdulillah. You're not more merciful, brother. You know, I'm not. We are not more merciful than Allah. We're not more just than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you know what is the biggest injustice? Biggest injustice when you associate partners with Allah. Do you know why? Partners with Allah. Or you disbelieve in Allah. Do you know why? Because you know when you commit adultery, Allah can forgive you until you reach paradise. But disbelief and polytheism on the condition that you knew about Islam, yeah? Allah will never enter you to paradise. You know why? Because that action, you know when you become disbeliever, there's no any, when you worship someone beside Allah or you worship desires, you don't get any like, you know when you do zina, fornication, you get some enjoyment, quick one, yeah, or take an interest, yeah? But disbelief and shirk, associated partners, you don't get any enjoyment. That's what. Second is what? You are belittling Allah. How? You say to Allah, you create this tremendous, powerful creation, but I believe you deserve nothing. That's why it's the worst sin that you can commit when you belittle Allah. The one who commits adultery, or a Muslim that falls into LGBTQ mistakes or sins, as long as he believes haram, that one is not belittling Allah, it's following his desires, yes? But this believer is belittling Allah. So the atheist, he said to Allah, you don't deserve. You create everything, you gave me life, you don't deserve nothing from me. The example I will give you, brother, imagine, may Allah forbid, I think you heard it before, you're in the house, you wake up in the morning in your own house and there's a fire everywhere, and you're about to burn, and you try your best to serve yourself, but you couldn't, you gave up. And I came and saved your life, what would you say to me?
I owe you my life.
You owe me your life. Would you thank me all the time?
Of course.
But brother, I never gave you life. So why don't you thank and remember who gave you life for free?
Of course, I understand what you're
That's
saying.
my point. My point here is that look how you say, I owe you my life. But I never gave you life, brother. You understand? But the one who gave you life, why are we speaking, brother? Yeah? We are benefiting from Allah's blessings. Yes? And Allah mentioned, Inna hadaynahu sabila, imma shakin wa imma kafura. We show him the correct path. Either he's grateful or ungrateful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know one of the mercy of Allah, as one of the scholars said, Abdullah ibn Nasr Sa'di, may Allah have mercy upon him, said. He said, one of the mercy of Allah, Allah told us in details about the punishment of the hellfire, to tell us stay away from it. So anyone doesn't want to stay away from it, except that he's arrogant. Except the Muslim that fall into small sins, that Allah can forgive him.
For example, people like me, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want this life to just be the only one. I want infinite paradise. But there are things that, for me, you might say your logic, because you're not smarter than anyone. You can't.
Not smarter.
You can't be entitled to your own opinion. But when it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense fully for me.
But I'm saying certain things beyond our capacity. Like for example, what? In the hellfire forever?
Hellfire forever.
Yeah, but it's emotional arguments. One is not.
Will.
Before that, step by step. That one you refute already, because why? Is again. So you want to tell to Allah, you should not create the hellfire forever. How long you should do it?
Funny you said that.
Yeah.
I said to my friend, who's the worst person human in history? And they said probably Hitler. I said
it's Pharaoh. Pharaoh. He said he's God. Yeah.
But
from the humans.
He killed Muslims, and it's different from
Pharaoh. He killed the Israelites. Is why he killed the Israelites. Why Hitler?
To me, for example, Hitler is a bad person. Yeah?
No doubt.
He deserves hell, right?
Yeah.
I said to him, how many years? They said. First they said infinite. I said, infinite? They said, maybe 6 billion years, per person he killed. 6 billion years. So that's 600 billion years of hellfire. And I said, that's funny because you're saying 600 billion years of hellfire. But for some people, not believing in God is eternal hellfire.
Why? Because the one who doesn't believe in Allah, because if Hitler put aside, yeah, he's not going to be in hellfire forever because he killed people only. Because not believing in Allah, there's arrogance in you.
Believe in Allah.
Yeah, it's arrogance. And that's a kabbur, nothing can clean it. That's what Allah, even Allah, do you know Allah mentioned in the Quran? Even if we take them out again from the hellfire and bring them back to life, they will disbelieve again.
What's that for? Eternity?
So that's for eternity.
The disbelief would be for eternity?
Yeah, that's what forever.
The second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth.
But if you showed someone hellfire, put them back here, they won't come. They'll be in stage there forever.
No, they will. Okay, I tell you. Wait.
No, I'm not going to, because essences of faith also need.
No, Jamal, wait, brother. It's not logic. Shall I show you it's not logic?
Also hellfire, I'm not coming off the shows them whole life.
Yeah, that's what you.
Eating, drinking, going there.
Okay, Iblis is so the greatest of Allah. How can we not believe?
But I'm saying in a human logic.
Okay, do you know Peter Atkins? Peter Atkins is a physicist, British physicist. He was asked in an interview. He's an atheist. He said, Peter, imagine you're walking and you see the stars. Writing down, Peter, believe in God. He said, I don't think it's magic.
See, that's extreme.
No, but hold on a minute. He's a human being. And he's considered to be a smart.
Physicists are arrogant.
No, okay, that's what this is a hellfire forever. Not because he's a physicist, because of what?
It's arrogant.
That's it, that's the point. That's what Allah said. Allah said in Surah Al-Zumar, وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى جَهَنَّمَ زُمَرًا حتى إذا جاءوها وفتحت أبوابها قال لهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم رسل منكم يتلون عليكم آيات ربكم وينذرونكم لقاء يومكم هذا قالوا بلى ولكن حقت كلمة العذاب على الكافرين. The shahid, that's the point of evidence. قيل ادخلوا أبواب جهنم خالدين فيها فبئس مثوى المتكبرين. The angels will be dragging disbelievers into the hellfire. The angels will say to them, did not Allah send your prophets and messengers? They say, yes, they did. Allah then, when the angels put them in the hellfire, they said, what an evil destination, not for the good friends, not for the good people, for the arrogant people. Again, to bring you back, understand my brother? So those are going to be in the hellfire, the arrogant brother. The good people will be in paradise. Also, you remember the question I asked you, okay, how long the hellfire should be? 5 billion, 6 billion? Whatever. No, regardless. Okay, if someone says infinite and you say 100 billion, which one should we follow?
Obviously, God's.
Khalas, Allah said it. Khalas, that's my point.
But I'm saying from an emotional,
But my brother,
logical.
it's not logical, it's emotional. It's not logical because the logic dictates the one who gave them that time, he has a perfect knowledge. Do you remember what I said to you, brother? It's illogical, irrational that you and I, who has little knowledge, to dictate to the one who has a perfect knowledge what he should do.
I agree.
Khalas.
I believe, I know.
All these doubts about the hellfire, free will, just this principle will refute all the doubts. But that doesn't mean, understand my point, a Christian can come now. He said likewise, God become a baby, you cannot utilize your brain. No. It's not the same. You know why? Because there's difference between what is known by necessity. Because for example, if God become a baby, define a baby is created, he's in need of help. That's already you are refuting for him to be God. Okay? So the Christians cannot utilize this argument. This argument we're talking about, certain things is beyond our understanding, but does not oppose our sound reasoning. Make sense?
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah, man. And I always say to you, Baba, read the books. Read the Quran, reflect upon it. Read what they call it, the ahadith about the hour. That's why I want to ask you the question, why Islam is the truth? And I'm giving you reminders how a man that existed 1,400 years ago, who couldn't read and write, he's coming with his perfect way of life. You know about Islam came to preserve 5 things. Yes?
5 pillars.
No, 5 pillars. They call it Daruriyat al-Khams, the 5 universal necessities, which is Islam came to preserve religion, way of life, God. That's why atheism, polytheism, paganism is forbidden. Because the outcome of not worshiping the true Ilah, true God, you start following your desires. And we can see that in our societies. Secondly, Islam came to preserve the intellect. That's why alcohol and drugs forbidden. Thirdly, Islam came to preserve wealth. That's why interest and gambling is forbidden. Fourthly, Islam came to preserve marriage life. That's why adultery and fornication is forbidden. Lastly, Islam came to preserve life. That's why killing people unjustly and committing suicide is forbidden. These 5 things Islam came to preserve. If we do preserve them, we'll have good society. What is the opposite of that? We can see in our societies: alcohol, gambling, interest, destroying us. So the question you ask yourself, how man that existed 1,400 years ago was able to come with this perfect way of life? On the other hand, we have these politicians who studied in the best universities around the world, Harvard. They cannot come with this perfect way of life because that man, he's a messenger of Allah. Make sense? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So ask question, no problem. But like I said to you, brother, sometimes you see what's happened about LGBTQ. We go back to it, yeah, and about adultery. You know what we're doing sometimes? Not just you, my brother, all of us sometimes. We centralize a human being. Instead of centralizing Allah, we centralize a human being. What do I mean by that? And that inshallah will break down everything for you as well. When you centralize human being, if our starting point is human being, therefore any legislation that punish us, we look at it as a bad things. Because our starting point is we are here to fulfill our desires. But if we centralize Allah, our starting point is Allah, therefore we're here to follow Allah's commandments, therefore the legislation that Allah came with will make sense. So one of the problems that Muslims have, they take Islamic legislation and they connect it to centralizing human being and liberalism and secularism. Of course, there will be contradiction because liberalism and secularism and atheism go against Islamic teaching. You understand, my brother? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
My brother, thank you for my pleasure to meet you, for coming and ask questions. And you're a good example, inshallah, that if you have a doubt, my dear brothers and my sisters, don't leave it. Because Satan, alhamdulillah, that sometimes Satan will tell you no one knows the answer. And if you go, no, this imam from Algeria, old man.
Some of them really don't know that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt, some don't know and they should not be speaking. That's why, my brother, not every imam should be giving da'wah. And not every teacher give da'wah should be leading the prayer. You understand? One of the things that when I was young, I used to think everyone has a long beard, he's scholar. Wallahi. I remember when I started debating with my friend, that was 2005, and he asked me a question, and I said, wait. I said, that man, he must know. He said to me, brother, doesn't mean because he has a long beard, he knows. You understand? So doesn't mean because imam, he knows how to give da'wah. You understand? So a Muslim has to learn that. I know little, wallahi, akhi. There's more brothers who know more than me. They know better than me. But alhamdulillah, everything's clear?
Everything's clear.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Thank you for the information.
You want to take my number, inshallah, can text me, inshallah, if you want.
Sure.
Inshallah. But I take time to respond, you know.
No.
Take time to, akhi, this.
To me,
Okay, khalas, to you, Do you know why I stopped smoking?
Oh, I got it.
Because of this. I said this too much, man.
It is.
Allah forgive us all.
انا عندي امر معك
تفضل اخي.
بس تخلص
ان شاء الله. امر خطير ولا ايش؟
لا
مش نحارب.
انا جاي
ان شاء الله بارك الله فيك.
تو منصور
حياك الله بارك الله فيكم. This is my number,
Thank you
brother.
very much, Shamsi.
May Allah bless you, أخي. I'll see you inshallah, man. بارك الله فيك. WhatsApp me أخي بورك, please.
عطنا رقمك
باش نكتب.
انت موجود هنا بلندن
إيه نعم أنا في
انا
لندن.
اتخابرك يوم من الايام حتى بس اشوفك لان انا عايش بالنرويج مو هنا
النرويج ما شاء الله. من أي بلد؟ سوري أو ليبيا؟ الأحواز ما شاء الله. حياك الله حبيبي. ما شاء الله. السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم. ما شاء الله. بارك الله فيك.
بس جاي اشوفك واشوف منصور
منصور ما شاء الله ما شاء الله.
لسه ما هو جاي
منصور ما جاش؟
لسه ما هو جاي
منصور اخ الله يبارك منصور.
عبر اليوتيوب
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله بارك الله
حبيب
فيك.
قلبي
حياك الله حبيبي.
شو سجلك؟
سجل شيخ الاسلام ابن تيميه. شكرا. شمسي يا اخي ايش؟ شمسي مسكين.
ما شاء الله
شمسي فقر الى الله.
شمسي ما شاء الله بالقلب لا ما شاء الله حبيبي.
امين امين واياكم.
الله يحفظك
بارك الله فيك حبيبي. بارك الله فيكم. الله عليك.
بعد حاجنا قلنا عندي صديق قوي ترى.
الله المستعان. بارك الله فيكم.
بارك الله فيكم.
الله يسامحنا ويسامحكم ونسال الله ان يسترنا بستره الجميل.
انا ان شاء الله
في الدنيا والآخرة.
بس اشوفك ايش على شويه بس.
الحمد لله. لكن كم مده جالس؟
انا لحد اسبوع زمان تقريبا اسبوع